And here we are in the lab again. Welcome to episode 3 of the Retro 1993 PC build. This has been a challenging project. There's a lot of details that you have to do that we had to do back in the 90s that some of them I had forgotten. And you take this plug and play stuff that came out. Plug and play started like Windows 95, but it wasn't real big till 98. And it wasn't real good till like way later. But plug and play started in the late 90s. So this is before plug and play. And you have to set everything up manually, everything, just like we did with the hard drive. Just set it up just manually. And so, and that goes with the network cards and just everything. So what we're going to do today is we're going to try to get the hard drive going. We can't do anything with the hard drive. So the steps are get the hard drive going, got the floppy going. So we have to make a system disk to put in the floppy, so that we can format the system onto the hard drive so that we can boot to the hard drive. And then we need the floppy we have to create Windows disks, and we have to feed 6 of those, 5, but there's 6 disks with Windows 3.1.1, but we'll load 5 of them in there and get Windows going. And then we have to put the network card in, and we have to set up a third-party TCP WinSock program so that we can get on the network. And then we have to run like a bridge or a patch because DOS runs in what they call real mode. And the 386 in Windows runs in 386 enhanced protected mode. So they can't, the DOS and the Windows can't natively just talk to each other. So there we have to load a driver so it can do that. And so because that way, so it can communicate with the network card. So we have to get all that configured. And then once we get that, then we have to get some Netscape or some kind of browser on there. And to do that, because those programs are bigger than what can fit on one floppy, so we'll have to get an FTP program and FTP over to one of my other computers, and then we can download bigger files. And so that'll get us going. And I mean, that's our goal. That's our big goal. And then after that will be like probably periodic upgrades, enhancements, fine tuning, and then we're going to get down into studying some serious Windows programming for those of you out there that like to do that. So let's go over there to the bench and stick the camera on the monitor. I had an idea. I got a splitter for the VGA, so we can split the VGA signal to the monitor so you can see it and work on the computer, but also send the video out to an HDMI adapter and send it to a USB adapter and send it into my computer and run it so it looks like this video here instead of a camera sticking on a monitor. It doesn't work that way, because any HDMI adapter that you can buy for almost any price doesn't go lower than 1080 pixel resolution, and this is 1080 is the maximum this computer can possibly put out. So when it's in DOS and just regular Windows and stuff, it isn't even reaching that threshold, so the HDMI converter won't even do anything. So that was a waste of like 30 bucks and a bunch of time and research trying to figure that out. So I was hoping to just be able to switch my video and it make it look like regular video, but no. So we're stuck with the camera pointed at the monitor. So that's one issue. Another issue is I found out through research that my hard drive controller does not support CD-ROMs because CD-ROMs uses ATAPI, ATAPI protocol, and the hard drives uses ATA. So that's an issue. And then there's going to be some more issues coming up, and you will see about that. So let's go over there and check it out. Okay, so the hard drive is in, and now we have to go into CMOS, and we have to set up the drive data manually because there's no plug and play auto detect stuff in this in 1993. So we'll turn it on here. And then we hit delete, go into CMOS. So then we come in here. And where you see hard disk C type. So if you go through the things here, there's all kinds of different things, but you'll probably never see your hard drive here. So you'll have to go to type 47, which is one that you can put in your own data. So ours, pull it up here. So we have 1,010 cylinders. We have 9 heads. Right pre-comp, we'll just leave that at 0. Landing zone is usually like the last one. And sectors is 55 sectors per track. And that gives us our 244 megabytes. But if you look at the manufacturers, they say 255 or something like that. And it's all just the way if you go by actual bytes or if you go by megabytes. It's the same amount, really. It's just rounded off on this one. But anyway, so then we just escape out of here. F10 to save. And then it'll restart. And we'll just hit escape to go through that memory test faster. And we'll see what happens. And it's taken a long time, so it's probably not going to do what we want it to. But we'll wait and see here. It's trying. All right, so hard drive controller failure. Now, it's not really the hard drive controller that's failed. I mean, it could be, but it probably 90% chance it isn't. It just says that when it can't read data from the hard drive, it can't read the status register, or the status register says it's not ready or whatever, it's going to say that. So we have to do some troubleshooting. And a lot of troubleshooting involves research. So we're going to have to do a little research and see what we can find out. So I did some research and I tried a few things and did some tests, and I'll spare you a lot of it. I'll tell you what I did though. That computer right over here, I put that together, and I call it a hybrid because it's a modern computer that can run like Windows 8. It could probably run Windows 11, I don't know, but it's got Windows 8. But it has an IDE and a floppy port on it. So and also SATA. So I can run my 1 terabyte disks on the SATA port and the IDE and the floppy at the same time. So that is a perfect tool to create sets of disks. Like the Windows disks and stuff like that. But it also worked in testing the hard drive. So the hard drive works fine. I formatted it and put the system on it on that computer, and it works great. So I put it back in our retro PC, didn't work. So there was one last chance, because from what I can gather just by knowing about ATA and stuff, is that the old ones, because the other drive I have works fine on the old computer, and it uses PIO mode 0, which is like early ATA. But the controller should support 1, at least up to 1. And the hard drive should support 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or at least 0, 1, and 2, at least. So it should work, but it doesn't. So there was one last resort, and it's when you have a large hard drive, usually above 500 megabytes. The older BIOSes, they just didn't go beyond 500 megabyte hard drives. So you had to get a program called Easy Drive, or there's a couple, but Easy Drive was for Western Digital drives. And it would work for other drives too, but it's made by Western Digital. And it's called a drive overlay. And it's what it does. It writes some information to like the boot sector, something of your hard disk. And when it starts to get accessed by the system, it bypasses the parameters in the BIOS. So it just bypasses the BIOS and uses its own parameters and talks to the system, bypassing the BIOS, I guess. And that lets you access like 1 gigabyte drives. I think you can go up to 2 gigabyte or maybe just a 1 gigabyte partition. But anyway, we don't have 500 megabytes. We only got 250. But maybe the BIOS just can't see that many tracks and sectors and heads, maybe. It's the only thing I can think of. So my last resort was to install a drive overlay. And so somewhere in the middle of all this moving the drive around and stuff, the partition got to become a non-DOS partition. I don't know what I did, but maybe when I ran the Easy Drive program or something. But so then even with the overlay on it, it still wouldn't work. So I was giving up. And I just decided to like check it with the newer computer here one last time and just see if it can read it and to make sure. And it said non-DOS partition. And I'm like, wow. So I reformatted and repartitioned and reformatted the hard drive to a DOS 6.2, and the overlay stuck on there, but I didn't expect it to. And so I put the hard drive in the old computer here, and it worked. And I don't know what happened, but it just decided it's working. So I'm accepting that. I'm good with that. It's working. So we can get the system on it, and I can show you how to format it. We'll format it. It don't take too long. Put the system on it and load some Windows, make some Windows disks and stuff like that. So that's the next thing, is to get the system disk, where the hard drive, to boot up on its own into DOS. All right. So let's go back over to the bench and check it out. Okay, so I got a new keyboard because I want to preserve the old one. It's in such good shape and it's so old that I just want to keep it preserved. And I'll pound out and abuse this one here with my cookie crumbs and my coffee stains. um, so first thing we're going to do, let's get this keyboard out of the way. And then we got to get our floppy drive out of here because we're going to use it on the other computer. All right. Kind of nice to have a floppy drive. I'll have to get one set up in here because this is pretty handy. And it's kind of heavy. This is an old HP box that I got at the thrift store. All right, so we want to take and we want to grab the VGA and plug it in over here. And then we want to get the power and plug it in over here like that. And then we take our floppy here and we'll just set that guy in here like that. Move that out of the way. So this one goes in here like this. All right. And then we just need to plug in our SATA drive here. This is, I think, a 500 megabyte, 500 gigabyte, not mega, giga. All right. And then we just need some power for this guy. And then we just need some power for our floppy. Like that. So we should be good to go. Turn on the keyboard. This has wireless keyboard and mouse, which is cool. Oh, it's a 120 gigabyte. Okay, so we're going to open up a browser. And we are going to win PC World or winworldpc.com. And if you go to their library, they have all kinds of old retro programs. And we're going to go down here to MS-DOS. And we're going to go 622, which is the last real old school DOS version. The 7.1 was kind of a Windows type thing. It was packaged with Windows. They worked together more tightly than the old versions. So we're just going to grab this upgrade one here. And we're going to download it. And I already have it downloaded here. We don't have to download that this time. And so then once we have it downloaded, and then you extract the file because it's a zip file, then we're going to run a program called raw write. See right here. And start that bad boy up. So it'll do drive A. It won't do like USB drives and stuff, but it works pretty good. So we're going to open up our image file. That's the Windows disk. Download 622. And we'll start with disk 1, and we will write it. And it just writes the raw sectors. It doesn't care what the data is, or if there's data already on the disk, it just writes it. And it writes the image files, kind of like a CD-ROM image file. These are image files of the diskettes. All right. All right. Next. And see, by writing the image, you get the whole disk, the system and everything, so you can just stick it right in. You don't have to format it or anything like that. And that's very important. You have to have that system disk to do your initial boot up. All right, so we get another disk in there. Then we select disk image 2, and then we write it. All right. And then last but not least, disk number 3. We select our image number 3, and we write it. All right, there's our 3 disks. Done with that, done with that, done with that. And then we will disassemble, put our floppy drive back into the retro, and we will boot up onto the floppy. So the 8386 was Intel's 3rd generation of 8086 architecture microprocessors. And it was a big improvement over the 286. It had 32-bit architecture, where the 286 had 16 bits. It had faster clock speed, and it had a lot of like internal optimizations inside the microprocessor itself, more pipelines, and it had a 20-bit physical address space, which means it could address physically up to 1 megabyte of RAM. However, in protected mode, using virtual address spaces, you could address up to 4 gigabytes of memory. So in 1988, Intel releases a new trimmed down version of the 8386 so that it would be easier to hit the market for the desktop PCs and lower end servers and stuff like that. And so it was still 32-bit internally, but the external data bus was 16 bits. And they trimmed down the address bus so that it would be maximum of 16 megabytes. So this computer can only maximum capacity of memory of 16 megabytes. And so we got 8 in there now, and we'll probably in the future upgrade to 16. And but eight megabytes in 1993 was really good. There was nothing to complain about that in 1993. Okay, so we're ready to check out our hard disk now. So uh, normally I would just use fdisk to create the partition, and then format /s to like put the system on the drive. But since this is an old drive and there's been some issues with it so far, then I want to run Easy Drive. So that's a Western Digital utility program. You can download it. I think I'm using version 9, and it was intended for Windows 95, or it came out during Windows 95, but it runs on DOS, so that's fine. And so you can find Easy Drive online easy enough, and you can download it and create a floppy just like we did for the DOS disk. And then we'll use Easy Drive. There's a diagnostics on there. We'll run the diagnostics first, and then we will install the system on it using Easy Drive. So let's get to it. All right, so the hard drive does not have an operating system on it, so we will put one on. So let's put our DOS disk number 1, the system disk, in, and then Control-Alt-Delete, restart the system. Okay, so we booted into our DOS disk, but we don't want to set up DOS yet. So we'll hit F3, F3 again, go to the A prompt, and then we're going to run fdisk, which is a disk utility. All right, and we're just going to view the information, number 4. And so we have a primary DOS partition on there already. So we are going to go escape out of here. And then we're going to put our Easy Drive disk in. And if we do a dir/w, then this is the files on the disk. So we have Easy Drive, or Easy exe right here. And then we have WD diag right here. So we're going to run the diag first. That's the diagnostics. Check out our drive, because I mean, it is kind of old. All right, so first thing we want to do, take a look at our drive. So it finds it. Okay, it gives us our information. That's what we put in there, so that's correct so far. And so we want to test the drive. R to run. And let's see what it does. All right, so no errors detected for this drive. That's a good sign. Okay, there's not much else we can do. You can write zeros to the drive if you wanted to, like, remove all information on it. Or if it did fail, you can like try to repair the drive up here. And then obviously we can't send the drive back. So we're just going to quit. And so it wants to restart, so we'll hit Control Alt Delete, restart. We have to replace the floppy drive with our DOS system disk. Okay, F3 twice, back to the A prompt. Then we're going to put our easy drive disk back in and dir/w. So then the only other thing, there's a DOS setup and there's a setup. I think that setup is probably for Windows. DOS setup, we maybe might run that just to check it out. But we're going to do the easy.exe right now. That's the actual easy drive program. See what it shows us. All right, press any key to continue, agree to the terms. All right, so I found a drive. That's always good. Sometimes it doesn't. Then you have a problem. So it says, when you go to advanced options, it says you're supposed to run this automatic first. So we'll do that. All right, I'm gonna go yes. Obviously, we don't have the system files on drive A, so we can switch this back to the DOS and hit enter. Use the maximum size. Continue. All right. So we want to remove the disk and hit escape. There it goes. Looks like our hard drive's doing real good. Okay. So when you don't have an auto exec.bat file configured, you get this date and time all the time. So we'll get that taken care of when we install DOS. So we got our C going. We got our system on the C using the easy drive. Okay, so we got our drive ready to go. So the next step is to install DOS and then Windows. So that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next video.